change. But last-minute buying again pushed shares higher for the session, effectively snapping a two-day losing streak here for the PSEi, with offshore investors buying into local stocks for a second day. The net purchase at 127.7 million pesos. This comes as the country is now reclassified to low risk for COVID-19, according to the Health Department. Octa Research Group likewise classifying NCR as a low risk based on their own metrics, with positivity rate down to 6% and average daily attack rate sliding to 7 per 100,000. Investors cheering those developments as seen in how some individual stocks are, or at least managed to fare today. You have AC Energy leading gainers here, up by 5.5% to 11 pesos and 98 centavos a share. This is one of our power producers that surged following Meralco's 49% jump in third quarter net income to 6.57 billion pesos. Like AC Energy, you also have Aboitiz Power keeping track of those gains, advancing by 1.3%. Globe is another stock here we have to keep watch of. This as they advance 4.25%. This is the telco giant malls offering a Reg as dollar bonds here. No specified amount yet. The proceeds will be used to fund their capital expenditures, maturing in existing obligations, and other corporate requirements. Now, Globe, just recall in August, raised capital spending to 76 billion pesos from 70 billion originally. Globe is now 3,148 a share. Lastly, let's take a look at San Miguel. The conglomerate is setting its sights on submitting a proposal for an electronics parts manufacturing hub in Cavite, Sangley to be exact. The facility is going to manufacture semiconductors and essential components of electric devices. They are looking at possible partnership as well with semiconductor firms. And San Miguel, however, unable to ride the rally today, ending the day in the red for the first time in 5 sessions, down 0.25% to 117 a share. Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. Payments made by the national government to settle its maturing foreign debt brings the country's dollar position back to a deficit. The Bangko Sentral reports that the Philippines' balance of payments, or BOP position, posted a deficit of $412 million last month. That's a reversal from the $2.1 billion surplus recorded in September last year. This in turn widened the 9-month BOP deficit to $665 million, a turnaround from $6.88 billion surplus registered in the same period last year. The BSP attributed the BOP gap in September to government payments of its old foreign loans. The cumulative deficit was also partly attributed to a wider merchandise trade deficit and lower net foreign borrowings by the national government compared to the same period last year. Meanwhile, vaccine czar Carlito Galvez is confident that the country will reach its vaccine supply target of 100 million doses by the end of the month. Galvez says more vaccine shots from the COVAX facility are expected to arrive before the end of October. The US, Japan, China, Germany, and even Brunei will donate millions more, Galvez notes. So far, at least 23% of the country's total population have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The government is hoping that this will increase to 50% by December. Galvez also says that he wants more children to be vaccinated so that they will be allowed outdoors after nearly 2 years in isolation. The government also targets to inoculate at least 90% of teachers and students by the end of November. And the Agriculture Department is studying a suggested retail price scheme for fertilizers as prices rise in the wake of China's export curbs and as food demand surges. Agriculture Secretary Leocadio Sebastian says they could set an SRP if the gap between the landed price and retail price of fertilizers is too large. The agency is also in talks with the Energy Department for the provision of gasoline discounts for fisherfolk after affected by rising fuel prices. The proposed fuel discount is seen to benefit at least 30,000 municipal fisherfolk and over 900 commercial fishing vessels plying the West Philippine Sea. The recent spate of oil price increases is set to have a multiplier effect on various sectors, more so for the food industry. How is the agriculture sector gearing for this? Let's find out from Agriculture Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes. Good afternoon, Asec Reyes.
Good afternoon, Jess, and good afternoon to our televiewers.
All right, sir. Rising fuel prices, how exactly will this affect the sector from production to delivery of goods?
Definitely, it will have some impact on the prices of goods, but not that much because fuel cost depends on the commodity being produced. For instance, in for fisheries, it's the bigger portion comprised about fuel costs. So they're estimating about 50% of the production cost for fishery products is attributed to fuel. And for commodities other than land based, ranging from 5 to 10%.
Okay, but when you're talking about, especially for fisheries, 50% is still quite a
Yeah.
significant a share here when it comes to production costs. So by how much do we expect that at least to affect prices, especially for fish?
At this point, we're negotiating, we're discussing with the Department of Energy as to the granting of discounts, crude oil, no? Diesel for fuel for our fishermen, no? For their boats. No? So again, we're proposing that it will cover at least 30 municipal fisher folk and about more than 100 commercial fishing vessels, particularly operating within the West Philippine Sea. So that's our proposal to Department of Energy under Al-Kusi. So talks are ongoing between the Department of Agriculture and Department of Energy.
How much are we talking about here when it comes to fuel subsidies, sir?
Uh, pre prices say in about 2 months ago.
Mhm.
So again, they're looking at that price level.
Prices from 2 months ago, to maintain at least a price level from 2 months ago, at
Yes,
least
because
to current
as
level.
we monitored, the prices have been increasing since about 9 weeks. So again,
Mhm.
we're looking at say 2 months ago level, 2 month ago level.
But while that's pending, by how much do you at least expect the current spate of increases in fuel? By how much do you expect that to at least jack up prices here for aquatic products or for fisheries?
Uh, so they're estimating about 5 to 10% at least
Mhm. Okay, now
for
are you? Go ahead, sir.
yeah for aquatic and marine fishery products.
Mhm. Okay, are you also planning to extend this subsidy for farmers and other products, or at least other producers?
We're proposing another scheme for farmers for transport, no fuel,
Mm.
and that will cover also talks with DOTR. So again, uh, jeepney drivers, truck drivers will be covered via the DOTR incentive scheme for fuel discounts.
Okay, so that at least will cover farmers as well. Now,
Yes.
also, when we're talking about farmers, we have to discuss this rise in prices of fertilizers. Just how bad is the scenario is how bad has it gotten for the Philippines, and what's pushing prices up?
It's a global trend, Jess. Big countries are buying up lots of fertilizer for their own use. So little is left for other countries like the Philippines. So prices are uh, going up. So
Mhm.
what we're doing is that we're encouraging other players, inviting such as the Federation of Cooperatives to start looking into importing fertilizers themselves. And also we're looking at the balanced fertilization strategy as advocated by the Secretary in combination with organic,
Mhm.
inorganic and organic fertilizers. So that's
Okay,
the way forward for the medium term.
To properly contextualize this issue as well, what's the percent share of fertilizer cost in agriculture production here in the Philippines?
It depends on the crop. No, commercial crops would take about much of the cost in production, just like banana, pineapple, and for rice, it's ranging from about 3 bags of urea to two bags of other fertilizers, about 5 bags for those who are fertilizing their crops, their rice and corn.
So more or less around 70% of production costs, or at least more than 50% of production costs would be allocated to fertilizers. Is that correct?
Not much, not much, Jess. What I'm saying is that fertilizer volume amounts to about 3 to 5 bucks per hectare. Okay,
Okay.
so used to be about 3,000 to 5,000 pesos per hectare. Now it has increased twice, so about 6 to 10,000 pesos per hectare.
Okay. Now, price of rice has been pretty stable of late. How will this surge in fertilizer prices affect palay?
We'll see the increase in the coming dry season. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, the wet season crop is almost over, harvesting is ongoing, and then uh, farmers will be again replanting for the dry season. So again, that will impact the prices of fertilizers now with impact on the dry season crop
Okay, so that
that
would
will
be
be
around
harvested
what period?
about March or April.
Okay, around. So we are more or less expecting price increases by March or April next year.
Yeah, it follows then. Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
follows.
By how much are we looking at here?
Again, depends on the usage of the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
If the fertilizer will be too expensive, they may shy away from using fertilizers.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are we doing to arrest this or at least reduce costs? Are we also looking at the possibility of reducing fertilizer use by half, like what they're doing in Vietnam?
Yes, and then replacing it with organic fertilizer again.
Mhm.
So again, or for the medium term, we'll be encouraging farmers to plant legumes that fix nitrogen from the air. So again, we need to see increased use of organic fertilizer in the coming season. In part, in combination with the uh, in inorganic chemical fertilizers.
All right. It seems as though you're going to have your hands full for the next couple of months. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Department of Agriculture Assistant Secretary Noel Reyes. Thank you, Asec Reyes.
Thank you, Jess, and to our televiewers.
And those are the biggest stories this trading day, October 26, 2021. Catch Business World Live again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for the market open and 3:15 p.m. for the market close. I'm Jes Delos Santos and we are One News. Mask on, wash hands and stay safe, Philippines.